right, now this is gonna be fun. Take a look at this. Members of the legacy media in the age of Trump are now officially turning on each other. Turning on each other for what others in the legacy media did over these last 4 years in trying to cover up for Biden. This is so glorious. This shows you precisely just how much we won. We did not just win an election. We won our country back. The legacy media is turning on itself. It is starting to throw its fellow reporters under the bus for how they deliberately covered up for Biden over these last 4 years. Now, in particular, 2 ex-reporters for Politico. And keep in mind, Politico is one of the most biased pro-Democrat legacy media outlets out there. They are disgusting. They are nauseating when you look at their headlines, particularly over the last 4 years. Well, 2 of its former employees, I should say, who I guess read the writing on the wall, are accusing Politico of deliberately burying the Hunter Biden laptop story. Oh, really? Yeah, I know. Shocking, right? Legacy media outlets burying a story that would be embarrassing to a Democrat? Oh, come on. Well, these former Politico reporters, blasted what they called their cowardly editors, who virtually shut down any story about the Hunter Biden laptop and instead pushed the deep state's nonsense that was all Russian disinformation. Now, I disagree with them on one point, which I'll get into in a moment, but check this out.
Example, when Politico did that terrible, ill-fated headline. 51 intelligence agents or former intelligence agents say that the Hunter Biden laptop was disinformation,
right,
or bore the hallmarks of disinformation. Turns out that story was closer to disinformation because the Hunter Biden laptop appeared to be true.
But then Facebook also pulled all stories down about the Hunter Biden laptop, and I think Twitter did at the same time too.
Correct.
Yeah.
They punished the New York Post. It didn't help. I mean, Politico, my former employer, and I knew at the time, didn't do itself any favors. I was covering Biden at the time, and I remember coming to my editor and saying, hey, we need to write about the Hunter Biden laptop. And I was told this came from on high at Politico. Don't write about the laptop, don't talk about the laptop, don't tweet about the laptop. And the only thing Politico wound up writing was that piece that called it disinformation, which charitably could be called misinformation. Since we're spilling tea about our former employer, I still have a copy of the story on my external hard drive. In 2019, a rival presidential Democratic campaign of Joe Biden's gave to me the tax lien, the Oppo research, the tax lien on Hunter Biden for the period of time that he worked at Burisma. And I wrote what would have been a classic story saying, the former vice president's son was slapped with a big tax lien for the period of time that he worked for this controversial Ukrainian oil concern or natural gas concern, which is haunting his father on the campaign trail. That story was killed by the editors, and they gave no explanation for that either.
Interesting.
So that general experience, obviously the public doesn't know about those things, but as a reporter, having witnessed the way in which the two candidates
we just get called like the terrible mainstream media. It's like you don't understand the process there.
We also don't understand the dumb decision of cowardly editors that are
the
made.
man above us when we're trying to do our jobs. You know what I mean? We're just looking for scoops, man.
The big bias is toward a good story.
Hey, gang, we look out for each other here on this channel, and your health is our number one priority. So if you're one of the 100 million Americans struggling with all the weight gain and loss of energy that comes with a fatty liver, you've got to try Liver Health Formula. It's an all-natural supplement. It contains 12 clinically proven botanicals that help recharge and protect your liver. It's manufactured right here in the USA, and it's approved by independent American doctors. And if you click on that link below right now, you could try Liver Health Formula and receive a free bottle of blood sugar formula when you order today. So don't let a fatty liver keep you sluggish and inactive. Click on that link below right now or go to getliverhelp.com/Turley and claim your free bonus gift. That's getliverhelp.com/Turley. The big bias is a good story. I'll give it that. No problem. But as you can see, they're throwing each other under the bus. Or their fellow newsroom execs. The one thing I would disagree with what he said there is I don't think the higher-ups were cowardly, or better, cowardly only. I think a better, more apt term is corrupt. They're not cowardly per se. The editorial boards and executives in the legacy media that were shutting down those stories are corrupt. They have corrupted news for the sake of amassing an unprecedented level of power and wealth in aligning themselves with the permanent political class. But they're not, they're not speaking truth to power. They're amplifying that power. Think about that. They're not speaking truth to power. They're amplifying that power. They're about fabricating a truth that magnifies and justifies that power. That is the legacy news media today. They're not speaking truth to power. They are speaking the power's truth. That's a better way of, I think, summarizing. They can pretend to occupy some moral high ground all they want, these legacy media creeps. In the end, they are fundamentally corrupt. It's as simple as that. They have corrupted their role, their social, cultural role of speaking truth to power by reconfiguring that truth to amplify that power. They have replaced speaking truth to power by speaking the power's truth. They are incorrigibly corrupt. So the left is melting down here, as you can see, but it's not just here in the United States. The left is collapsing now quite literally all over the world. Now, I told you earlier this week about that study that was published in the New York Post over the weekend that looked at 73 elections that took place all over the world back in 2024. And they found that 60% of those international elections shifted right. The right-wing parties won. Left-wing parties won only 40% of the elections. That represented the lowest left-wing performance in global elections since 1990, when the Soviet Union was still around, 40 years ago. The world is literally turning right virtually everywhere. And so for me, I have to say, in light of that, for me, the highlight of this week was yesterday when Trump appeared at the WEF, the World Economic Forum in Davos, right? Did you guys see that? He appeared by way of simulcast. I kid you not. Jesse Waters put it best. He zoomed in as an explicit symbol of disrespect to the demons at Davos. It was an unmistakable, the fact that he couldn't be bothered to be there was an unmistakable expression of Trump's disdain and dismissal for the demons at Davos. He appeared by way of simulcast and delivered perhaps the single most blistering speech ever delivered at Davos, detailing how the globalist world that the demons in Davos work so hard to build, their Babel, is being systematically and permanently dismantled. Check out some of these highlights.
The President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
And he comes straight out of a DC comic villains world.
Well, thank you very much, Klaus, and hello to everyone in beautiful Davos. This has been a truly historic week in the United States. 3 days ago, I took the oath of office, and we began the golden age of America. What the world has witnessed in the past 72 hours is nothing less than a revolution of common sense. Our country will soon be stronger, wealthier, and more united than ever before, and the entire planet will be more peaceful and prosperous as a result of this incredible momentum and what we're doing and going to do. I terminated the ridiculous and incredibly wasteful Green New Deal. I call it the Green New Scam. Withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord and ended the insane and costly electric vehicle mandate. We're going to let people buy the car they want to buy. I mean, the Green New Deal was such a total disgrace. And it was conceived of by people that were average students, less than average students, I might add, and never even took a course in energy or the environment. It was just a game. Remember, the world was going to end in 12 years? Remember that? Well, the 12 years has come and gone.
I love him. I love him more every day. You don't under. I want you guys to appreciate why he kept screwing and twisting the environmental agenda at the WF and in Davos. Why he deliberately kept doing that. He knows exactly what he was literally stabbing the very heart out of the WEF. A number of scholars, particularly Jordan Peterson, have recognized that apocalyptic environmentalism is the heart of the WEF. There is a kind of religiously inspired mythology for the demons in Davos, and it's a mythology that depicts the human race as a threat to the planet. You have to get that, because this is what makes Trump's speech to the demons in Davos so incredibly awesome. According to the WEF, humanity, under the guise of industrialization, which also entails patriarchy, racism, and colonization, right? So environmentalism goes hand in hand with DEI initiatives. But so under the guise of industrialization, humanity has radically disrupted and polluted the original state of the environment, of our biosphere, which WEF propagandists envision as a primeval ecological utopia. And in the name of restoring this primeval ecological utopia, the behavior of humanity must be radically regulated and engineered by a cooperation between big business and big government, between billionaires and bureaucrats. And this alliance of billionaire and bureaucrat that gets together every year at Davos deliberately seeks to engineer and manipulate your political, economic, and consumer choices so that you do not destroy the planet. In other words, as far as the demons of Davos are concerned, you are not allowed to vote a certain way. You're not allowed to vote for certain candidates because that can destroy the planet. That's exactly what they just did in Romania when Călin Georgescu, their populist candidate, their Trump, was about to win their presidential elections. So the Romanian Supreme Court canceled them. And nobody in the EU cares. Nobody in Europe is saying a word, not a peep. You're not allowed to vote for certain people because they can destroy the planet. You're not allowed certain economic opportunities because that could destroy the planet. You're not allowed certain consumer choices because that can destroy the planet. You see, the apocalyptic ecology that the WEF swears by justifies them in taking over the entire world with a one-size-fits-all political and economic program that completely eclipses our political and economic sovereignty. And Trump just walked it. Trump just zoomed in there just to show how irrelevant they are now and basically told them that apocalyptic ecology and the billionaire and bureaucratic tyranny connected with it are all officially dead. They are dead. Oh, and you're going to love this. You're going to love this. As part of his speech detailing how the days of the WEF and woke corporations have come to an end, Trump he called someone out by name. This is what makes Trump so awesome. He'll call him out by name. This is what he had to say about the Bank of America.
By the way, speaking of you, and you've done a fantastic job, but I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives, because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business. And I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
Now,
Mr. President, I'll say that your friend Gianni said hello, told me to tell you hello, and we look forward to sponsoring the World Cup when it comes, both this summer for the club and next year. So thank you for getting that for the United States.
Please don't call my name out, Mr. President. I love you. Please kiss the ring, kiss something else too. But if you want to see the political power, the unprecedented political power that man has right now, take a look at this. This is a tweet from Bank of America just after Trump called out their CEO for debanking conservatives. Look at this. If you're listening by way of our 20 million podcast downloads, I will read it for you here. It's a tweet that says, quote, Bank of America serves more than 70 million clients, and we welcome conservatives. We love conservatives. We would never, this is what it says, we would never close accounts for political reasons and don't have a political litmus test, which of course is not true. Right? You guys remember this, don't you? This is what makes the internet so much fun. We can revisit past moments, past transgressions in real time. Tucker Carlson reported on this a few years back. He exposed how Bank of America was turning over private customer data to federal authorities in the Biden administration. Again, I'm going to say that again. Private customer data on their own customers who had not been accused of any crime. And according to Tucker's report, the Bank of America was actively but secretly engaged in the hunt for extremists in cooperation with the Biden government. Bank of America is, without the knowledge or the consent of its customers, sharing private information with federal law enforcement agencies. I should say was. I should rephrase that, since those days are now officially over. Bank of America effectively acted under the Biden administration as an intelligence agency, but they are not telling their customers about it. In the days after January 6th riot at the Capitol, Bank of America went through its own customers' financial and transaction records. These were the private records of Americans who had committed no crime, people who, as far as we know, had absolutely nothing to do with what happened at the Capitol on January 6th. But at the request of federal investigators, Bank of America searched its databases looking for people who fit a specific profile put together by the Biden FBI and Justice Department. So when all is said and done, Bank of America basically acted as a surrogate intelligence agency, as if the bank's customers were suspected of being members of Al-Qaeda. Again, this was an active participation by a major financial corporation in the weaponization of the three-letter agencies in the Justice Department against the American people, particularly against MAGA, billionaires and bureaucrats teaming up to crack down on freedom. And of course, to make matters worse for them and why they're so freaked out right now, Trump himself was the victim of this pernicious, woke, excommunicative practice of debanking, was he not? Deutsche Bank, who I'm talk about a corporation that has egg all over their face, as well as, by the way, Signature Bank, but they don't have egg on their face because they're basically defunct at this point. They cut ties with Trump. They debanked Trump, citing the assault on the U.S. Capitol building as their reason for excommunicating Trump from their services. Do you see how J6 gets weaponized not just by bureaucrats like Liz Cheney, but also by billionaires? So Trump himself was the recipient of financial institutions that got weaponized by the radical left to disenfranchise President Trump and his supporters. Well, what a difference a week makes. Those very corporate executives are now bending down and kissing the ring. They are begging Trump not to crack down on them for what they did these last 4 years. I think this is what Trump meant when he said that his best revenge will be his success. His ultimate revenge will be watching all of these corporations pathetically groveling at his feet. And that is exactly what they are doing. The world is aligning around MAGA. A new civilizationalist golden age is indeed rising. And as far as that fellow at the beginning of the video is concerned, this golden age might even come to places like Haiti.